Underworld was born. Spector had hoped to fill the role as producer of the game, but was disappointed to find that he wasn't assigned to that role, admitting that he had to, quote-unquote, watch jealousy from the sidelines. The team started developing their own original engine for the game, which would push it even further past previous RPGs in terms of technology. After the initial excitement died down, however, the production of Ultima Underworld began to fall apart. During the first year, Origin seemed less and less interested in the project. Underworld had lost not one, but two producers, was developed without a producer for a time, and rumors circulated that Origin might pull the plug on the publishing deal entirely. After a proposal from the team, Warren Spector had joined the team as its new producer. Spector and Neurath had worked together previously on Space Rogue, and the new producer, combined with Spector's experience and new outlook, helped turn the project around entirely. According to Neurath and Doug Church, the lead programmer, Spector immediately understood what the team was trying to accomplish with the game and turned around the then rocky production. With a re-energized development team under Spector's leadership, the game started really coming together, and despite a long crunch period during a cold winter in a drafty, badly heated office, the game went gold and shipped in March of 1992. Ultima Underworld: The Stygian Abyss received critical and consumer acclaim with its revolutionary engine, compelling atmosphere, interactivity, and emergent and smooth gameplay. No longer constricted to static screens and choppy movement, players could now walk, jump, and swim freely through a dark and ominous world, the likes of which had never been seen before. Textured walls, ceilings, floors, and ominous simulated lighting through distance haze. Not only was its engine impressive, Underworld offered new mechanics and gameplay that few had ever experienced before in a 3D first-person perspective. The game offered impressive features, many of which had never existed before, such as walls at more angles than the standard perpendicular 90 degrees, freedom of movement and verticality like jumping between platforms, walking up ramps, and experiencing the shift from claustrophobic tunnels to the vastness of open caverns, with the new features shown in the engine such as dynamic ceiling height. Although many graphics were 2D sprites, as was normal at the time, the game even featured fully 3D modeled objects as well, which was almost unheard of at the time. With interactive puzzles, tense combat with all sorts of fantasy creatures, choices in dialogue with NPCs, and items you could pick up, throw, and use at your will, it became one of the most influential RPGs of all time, and of 3D games in general. Ultima Underworld in many ways shifted RPGs out of the realm of text-based imagination and into the third dimension. After the game's successful release, Paul Neurath agreed to join up with Ned Lerner of Lerner Research, of whom he worked with in development of Ultima Underworld. This combination, along with the avoidance of having a similar name to Blue Sky Software, which was founded a year earlier, the two groups formed Looking Glass Technologies, later to be renamed Looking Glass Studios. The success of the original led to the demand of the development of a sequel called Ultima Underworld: Labyrinth of Worlds. Really quick. From concept stage to shipping date, the game was pushed through a production in about 9 months. Warren Spector recalled at a later interview that the game was rushed out the door, and he generally maintains that a game should take 32 to 36 months to finish. Because of the incredibly quick turnaround, resources from Origin in Austin had to be used to finish the game in the timeline, or lack thereof, given. While staying true to the strengths of the original, Underworld 2 improved the game's interface, showed off enhanced graphics, expanded the gameplay window, streamlined the clutter, and overall delivered a more polished experience. The technological improvements, however, may have outpaced the average PC user's hardware though, as the game was criticized for its steep system requirements at the time. Underworld 2 told a story follow-up to Ultima 7 in an adventure featuring familiar characters like Iolo, Dupre, and of course Lord British. The Guardian, the antagonist from the later Ultima storyline, makes a return as the primary villain of the game as well. The scope of Underworld 2 was much larger, with a focus on emergent gameplay and non-linearity, as well as polishing the rough edges that the original game had. Neurath has since reported that Underworld 1 and 2 had sold over 500,000 copies combined, a notable success in the budding age of PC gaming. During the final stages of Ultima Underworld 2's production, concepts for a new game were bouncing around.